What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to go over another trade recap. Today I took one loss for today. It was a 10 o'clock continuation short. So I'll kind of go over everything, starting with what I posted in the Discord. So usually I post something in the Discord that kind of shows you what I'm doing. So this is what I posted yesterday. So I said that we'll be looking at the low formed in Asia session as a possible low week, as it seems the higher time frame candle wants to flip, right? So as you can see here, we take out Monday's low, and then we start expanding higher. So if this low is protected, right, we should have pretty decent expansion away from it, right? Because we have reforming the low of the candle, and then we should form the body afterwards. So we should see price expand, which would flip the weekly candle, right? So I said that once again, protocol is the same. Either wait for daily power 3 to confirm, which is what it did happen. So I'll kind of explain that in a little bit. But if 930 does not offer a good Judas swing, which can happen, I said wait for daily power 3 to confirm, trade 930 or 30-minute continuations, which is what I did today. And if 930 does not offer a good Judas, then we would have to wait for 30 until 10, and then if the daily power 3 is not clear, we would use 930. So all that did come in play today. Sadly, it did not result in a win, but who really cares? So this is there's my short idea playing out, so that's kind of unfortunate. So usually if we have consolidation, kind of messy price action during that lunch session, so 11, sometimes it could be 11:30. It's technically 11:30 to 1:30, but sometimes you can get that earlier expansion into 11:30. So there's my shortcoming wanting to play out. But let's just oh damn. Okay, so there's my short idea playing out. But I'll just go over my trade and I'll kind of show you how this was my idea. So coming into the day, I was actually bullish. So obviously with my plan that I posted in the Discord, I was looking at this low here. So we run out Monday's low. We have the change in state delivery higher. So that was the low I outlined in my Discord channel. So, and then we actually did have a very nice framework coming in today. So here's midnight open, right? Midnight open, we open high first, but then we run lower. So then so it's still an open low, right? Majority wise, we have a 15-minute change in state here, right? So this is where I would set my invalidation points, right? So we had invalidation here because this is the low protected by the change in state delivery, and then we had this one because that was the low that I outlined. And then at 9:30 today, both of these lows gets ran through. So we run through this low, right? So what do we do when we don't have a daily power 3 anymore? Either we wait for the daily power 3 to realign itself bullish, or we use 9:30, right? So 9:30 opens low, so that could be a bullish sign, right? We manipulate heavily lower. We have the change in state, so I was looking at this. I was like, okay, maybe this is the daily power 3 and 9:30 power 3 low because it's forming at the low of the 9:30 open. And obviously we're still in respect to this low slightly, right? This is the low that I outlined. If we're going to be bullish, right, what do we have to have first? A daily bias, right? And what do we have for our daily bias? That's our weekly power 3. So we have that still intact. So I was looking at expansion, maybe 10 o'clock would continue higher, but no, we run it out right here. We invalidate it, right? So now what do? We have to reassess, right? We have to reassess our ideas and see, do we switch bias? Are we off sides? What do we do? So after this low gets invalidated, right, what do? What's our main focus point? Monday's high, right? Because this low was protected. So when we have a low that's protected, it means that this high is probably no longer likely to be stayed intact, right? Because if price is going to expand, we're obviously going to take this high, right? Because it's a high week so far. And obviously we're probably not going to range for the whole week in between these 2 points, right? So it makes sense that this high is no longer protected and that price is going to trade maybe towards it, right? So however, since this low got invalidated, it means that we were wrong, right? Price would want to move lower. So this high is where price is going to defend, right? Because we're going to move lower, we're probably not going to come up to this high, right? So now we're going to look for, realignment of the intraday bias. So now we know that we're wrong daily bias wise, but luckily we still have structure to know that, okay, we can switch biases relatively easily. So let's look at the daily power 3, right? We have open high, right? This 9:30 displacement gives us that strength lower, right? So gives us that expansion lower, confirming this as the high of day, right? Which it was. So I set my invalidation points here. validation weekly power 3, validation daily power 3. So this is something I did talk about, right? If you want me to pull this back up, I said that 930 does not have to offer a good Judas swing. 930 is a strong possible time for a high probability Judas swing. So 930 is a good time for manipulation to happen, and its manipulation is true. So when we do see manipulation, it's most likely to be actual manipulation, true manipulation, and price will deliver in the opposite direction, right? So 930 displaces lower, right? We have this top wick here, and I was like, okay, we're gonna be bearish. We could come back up to this high, right? We could come up to this high, form that 930 reversal, right? That actual 930 Judas. This could be a double purge 930 Judas, right? So we could have come back all the way up here, but I don't want to predict, right? I want to react to what price does. If price just keeps grinding up here, then okay, cool. I'll be ready to take a 930 reversal. However, we don't. 10 o'clock expands higher. We get that change in state delivery. Pretty messy, but I was just looking for a quick 2-hour scalp, and then I get chopped up in consolidation. Now, so that was my plan, right? So overall, my idea was, okay, we invalidated the bullish side because we invalidated a bullish daily power of 3 and a weekly power of 3, right? And we're supporting the bearishness, right? Because we form a bearish daily power of 3, and Monday's high, which is the high of the bearish weekly power of 3, is still protected, right? So overall, we're bearish. And since 930 displaces lower, and I see price is not willing to run all the way back above 930 open, it means that most likely this displacement is enough to keep the 930 high as protected, right? We're probably not going to trade back up here just off of the sheer displacement, right? We have the retracement, right? And we can see that price is willing to retrace only to premium of this range, right? Premium of this kind of range here, right? We don't have to focus on that, but from what we see from price, right? We want to react to price. We're not trying to predict it, right? What we see from price is not willing to move all the way back above 930 to form a new wick on the 930 regular trading hours 4-hour candle, right? Price is just willing to retrace and then retrace up so much that price wants to move lower, right? So that was the idea, right? I see this change in state delivery across 10 a.m. Probably not going to come up to touch this high, right? That was what I was thinking. So we're not going to move up to this 930 high. We're probably going to move up this high. So we'll move up, retrace to this point here. Probably not, to the 930 high. So we're probably going to run lower. So I take that short, and obviously that failed, right? I was stuck in consolidation for around 30 minutes. I get stopped out, right? And then here's 11 o'clock playing out my short idea perfectly, right? What did I want to see? A 30-minute continuation, right? We know that we're probably not going to come back above 930's high, right? We run above, right? And we're reacting to price, right? So as you can see, we have that change in state delivery off of the 11 o'clock 30-minute candle open. So we open high, right? And then we take our sell position here. We stop loss at the highs, right? And then 1.5 risk to reward, right? You can go break even here, right? You can go break even. And I'll see if this plays out, right? I'll see if this plays out, and I'll, show that to you guys in the Discord. But overall, that's basically it. I mean, that's basically it. There you go. I want to get exact in that, but that's basically it for today, right? What was the whole purpose of today, or what was the overall recap? We had possible bullish development, right? We invalidated that. We had bullish development, right? We had the idea of bullish development. We had bullish development, right? Through that daily power 3, we invalidated the bullishness of this day, right? We took out that daily power 3 protected low. We took out the weekly protected low, right? And then we realign ourselves bearish, right? By reevaluating Monday's high and seeing that 930 giving us displacement for a daily power 3, and then we were just looking for 30-minute continuations, which we did not catch, sadly. And it looks like that this is looks like it's gonna be lunch that delivers the actual move I was looking for, which is kind of unfortunate, but overall super content, right? My idea was still pretty much right on the day, and yeah, overall pretty good day, right? Took one loss, that's all good, right? That's what risk management is for. My winners are super big, right? And I know that through the math, I can have more losers than winners, and I'll still win, right? So my losers are small, and I can have more losers than I can have winners, right? So overall, risk management is going to save me, right? So that's everything I have for today. And yeah, hopefully you guys did better than me today. Hopefully you guys caught some dubs, and yeah, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.